is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Warzone 2 is right around the corner, and with that said, I've had quite a bit of people asking me what are the best guns and what are the best attachments that they need to have ready to go in preparation for the Warzone 2 launch. If you guys didn't watch, I previously dropped a video that covered the best ways to unlock guns and attachments. So if you haven't unlocked the guns you're looking for yet, I am linking that video for you guys to check out that. But on this video, we're going to cover all of the different attachments and guns that I think are going to be viable in Warzone 2. With that said, let's drop in and start off with the Cronin Mini Pro. All right, guys, starting off with the Cronin Mini Pro. This is what it looks like. It's got a blue dot right in the center. The reticle doesn't obstruct really any view. It's rather small, nice and clean, and I think a lot of people will be using this in short to medium range encounters. If you haven't leveled it up, I strongly suggest you doing so, just because it's really clean. I've personally been using it quite a bit in Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, and I think a lot of people have been playing with it as well and really enjoying it. Up next, I do want to look at the VLK 4.0X. If you guys played Warzone, chances are you played with the VLK. Essentially, the VLK here, the 4.0, is the same exact scope. However, it zooms in a little bit more. You can see here, there's a little bit of visual recoil, but I don't think it's anything crazy whatsoever. It's got that dot in the middle there. Obviously got the 4x zoom. I think this reticle is going to be extremely viable in medium to long range encounters. So I strongly suggest you guys leveling up this specific attachment. All right, guys, now moving on to suppressors, lasers, and grips specifically. There are quite a bit of them, but when it comes to suppressors, generally, you want to unlock the ones that have the bullet velocity and the damage range. I took this graphic here from our buddies over at Warzone Loadouts. Shout out to you guys. And I strongly agree with all of these attachments. I personally have every single one of these unlocked, and I am using all of these attachments to the respective guns that they go with. Essentially, these are pretty much universal across ARs, subs, marksman rifles. And we're going to start off with the Harbinger D20. That is a suppressor that you unlock by getting the SBT 556 to level 18. I strongly suggest you guys unlocking that. Following that, we also have another suppressor, the Echolas 80. And you also unlock this one by getting the SBT 556 to level 18. Now, moving over to a muzzle called the Kamado Heavy. You get this one by leveling the Lock 556 to level 18. Also a very solid vertical recoil attachment. I strongly suggest you guys unlocking that if you haven't done so. Now, moving on, we have another suppressor. We have two more, actually. The next one, though, is the SenGuard MKV. You get this one by leveling the Vel 46 to level 16. The next one after that is the ZLR Talon 5. And you get this one from unlocking the TAC M at level 22. We already covered the VLK, so I'm going to jump over that one. But the grip, we're jumping onto grips now. And this one here we're going to talk about next is the FSS Sharkfin 90. You get this one pretty easy. You just got to level the Fennec to level 2, which actually is a gun that I'm going to be talking about when it comes to guns. So this one is a very good one in terms of aim stability. So make sure you're leveling this one up for those of you guys that struggle with recoil. Now, the next one is the Merc 4 grip, and you get this one by unlocking the TAC V at level 6. The next one after that is the VX Pineapple, and you get this one by unlocking the El Caris at level 14. Now, before I talk about this bullet, I'm going to also talk about a rear grip here. The Skin ZX grip, you get this by leveling up the M4 to level 8. And of course, the M4 is also going to be a gun I'm going to be talking about very shortly. We'll go back onto this 556 high velocity round. You get this one by leveling the STB 556 to level 7. And I would also suggest you unlocking the 762 high velocity round. It's not in this graphic, but I do think that is an important one to cover as well. And then moving on, we have 2 lasers. One of them is the VLK LZR 7 milliwatt. You get this one by leveling the STB 556 to level 5. And then the next one is another sprint to fire ADS laser that I think is going to be widely used by a lot of the players in Warzone 2. And that one is the FSS OLED V laser, and you get this one by unlocking the EBR 14 to level 10. Now, jumping over to the weapons, ladies and gentlemen. All right, guys, let's start with the assault rifles. I have 5 different ARs that I think are going to be very viable in Warzone 2. And I'm starting off with the Kastov 74U. This gun is an absolute beam in multiplayer, and I think it's going to translate equally into Warzone 2. Now, I think there are going to be some nerfs to guns when Season 1 drops for Warzone. However, this gun is so strong that I don't think they're going to nerf it to the ground. So I strongly suggest you guys unlocking the Kastov 74U. Now, moving on, I am going to talk about the TAC 56. That is also another AR that I think people are going to be using quite a bit. I personally enjoy it in multiplayer. It hits like a truck. I think a lot of people are going to be using this one in medium to close range a little bit more, just because the long distances, I think this gun has a little bit more recoil. So in that medium to short range, it's an absolute beam. Now, jumping on to our M4, that is the next one I think we are going to see a lot in Warzone 2. I personally really enjoy rocking the M4. I've been a fan of it throughout all the Call of Duties, and they did not disappoint with the M4 in Modern Warfare 2 and also in Warzone 2. Granted, I haven't played Warzone 2, but if it's going to be anything near to what it is in multiplayer, I think we're in for a real treat. So the M4 is the next one. And then the AK Kastov 762, ladies and gentlemen. I think it is the hardest hitting AR at range. If you guys have not unlocked the Kastov 762, I really do think people are going to be throwing the VLK 4X on there and tuning their guns to be able to beam at range. So that is the next one. And then that brings us to the last one, the Lockman 556. This gun actually fries in multiplayer as well, and it is another one that I think you guys should be leveling in preparation for Warzone 2. With that said, let's jump over to the SMGs, ladies and gentlemen. So we just talked about the Lockman 556, and I think that we should talk about the Lockman sub, the trusty old MP5. This gun has been a lot of fun to use in multiplayer. I think it's going to translate very well into Warzone 2, so that is one you should be leveling. Moving on from that, I think the PDSW 528 is also going to be an extremely viable sub. So if you guys have not already leveled it, I strongly suggest you guys doing so. Moving on to that, I have the FSS Hurricane. It absolutely slaps in multiplayer. I think it's not going to disappoint us in Warzone 2. And if you haven't already leveled it, I would encourage you leveling this one as well. Now, the last SMG that I think is going to be extremely viable in Warzone 2 is going to be the Fennec 45. The Fennec just outputs so much damage in so many rounds in such a short time that I think this is going to be an extremely viable sub. Not only is it a beam in Modern Warfare 2, but I also think it's going to be viable in Warzone 2. Now, with that said, we covered the ARs and the SMGs, and now I think I want to cover an LMG, and I think I'm only going to cover one specifically, and that is going to be the Raw MG. This gun is an absolute laser beam. I think when you add a little bit of ADS speed to this gun. You know, you don't even need to put a mag on it. The 75 round is insane. You add a little bit of range. You make sure you got the little bit of recoil control on there when you tune it. And you also add a little bit of, so I'm talking ADS speed, I'm talking damage range, and I'm talking a little bit of recoil. So if you do cover a little bit of those, I think this is going to be an extremely viable LMG in Warzone. So I strongly suggest you guys rocking that and fully max it out before Warzone 2 drops. Now, since we covered the only LMG that I think is going to be viable in Warzone 2, I think we jump into a marksman rifle. Again, we're only going to be covering one here, and that one is going to be the SPR 208. This gun has been extremely broken in Modern Warfare 2, and I think it is not going to disappoint us in Warzone 2. So please do yourself a favor. If you enjoy sniping at the slightest, make sure you guys are spending some time on unlocking this gun, because I think it's going to dominate out there. And then the last one is the MCPR 300 sniper rifle. That is the only sniper rifle that I would suggest you guys to unlock. And I think if you guys, even if you don't unlock every single one, I know I covered quite a bit of guns. I believe it was either 11 or 12 guns we just talked about, and a lot of attachments to boot. However, if you guys enjoy any of the guns that I talked about just now, I think if you have some favorites that you have used previously, whether it's in multiplayers or just Warzone, and this is the new version of that gun, if you enjoyed a specific one, go with that. But I don't think you guys are going to regret it, man. I am very excited for Warzone 2. Let me know your thoughts. Are you guys aligned with what I think is going to be viable in Warzone 2? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you all have a phenomenal Warzone 2 launch. I'll see you guys soon. Take it easy, guys.